Hello everyone. In our last lesson, Sources of History, we studied how to classify the sources of history, how to read and interpret references related to history, also how to collect the historical objects, documents, coins, and how to classify them in different ways. So now here in this chapter, India Events after 1960, we will be able to tell the historical events related to India's progress in the post-independence period chronologically, and also we will be able to critically analyze India's internal challenges. Also, India's economic policies changed with changing times. I have divided this chapter into two parts. The first part will be about the prime ministers and their work, and in the second part we will see about the green revolution, white revolution, different economic policies, and women empowerment. So India became independent in the year 1947 Common Era, and we accepted the constitutional framework in 1950. Our constitution was drafted by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and we accepted it on 26 January 1950. Thus, India became a sovereign democratic nation. As we know, Indian society is multicultural, as we have various languages, religions, ethnicities, and caste which live together. During the initial period after the independence, India needed to solve different issues of economical, political, and social development. So for this, there was the establishment of the Planning Commission, which emphasized on the industrialization as a means to achieve economic development and to eliminate poverty in India. Successful conduct of election and faith in democratic traditions made it possible for us to achieve political stability. At the same time, several social reforms, including policies and programs for the weaker sections of the society, were sought to be implemented. So we will see the important events between 1947 to 2000 during the tenure of Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. His tenure was from 1947 to 1964. He was our first Prime Minister. In the decade of the 1960s, several events occurred which had a huge impact on the political situation in India. The one which was liberation of Goa, Diu, Daman from the Portuguese rule and merger with India. This means that the region of Goa, Diu and Daman were freed from Portuguese rule and became the part of Indian federations. India-China War of 1962. The tensions between India and China on the northern border, which has been rising since 1950, culminated in the war of 1962 between the two countries. This war was fought in the region of the McMahon Line. I have explained McMahon Line in the next slide. We'll see that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the pioneer of economic planning. Pioneer means he was the one who led the economic planning of India. He was also architect of India's foreign policy. He had a great contribution to social and economic development of India, which was significant. Jawaharlal Nehru passed away in the year 1964. We'll see what is McMahon Line. The McMahon Line here, which is near Arunachal Pradesh, if you see the yellow dark line, that is a McMahon Line. The McMahon Line is a disputed border between India and China. Now this border extends from Tawang in India to Myanmar, approximately 1152 kilometers long. The line is named after Sir Arthur Henry McMahon, He was a foreign secretary of British India. It was suggested at the Shimla Conference in 1913 to 1940. The Chinese walked out rejecting the proposed line, hence it was negotiated between India and Tibet. China rejects the Shimla Accord and the McMahon line, contending that Tibet was not a sovereign state. Sovereign means it was not an independent state or independent country, and so did not have the power to conclude treaties. So it means that Tibet didn't have right to sign any treaties. Later, this line became a bone of contention between India and China, culminating in the 1962 war. Lal Bahadur Shastri, his tenure was from 1964 to 1966. Lal Bahadur Shastri succeeded Jawaharlal Nehru and became the Prime Minister of India. India-Pakistan War of 1965. So during his tenure, India and Pakistan went to war over the Kashmir issue. In 1965, the Soviet Union, means Russia, tried to mediate between the two countries. Lal Bahadur Shastri gave the famous slogan Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, with which he highlighted the importance of Indian soldiers and Indian farmers. He signed a Tashkent Agreement. Tashkent is a country place in Uzbekistan. If you see here in the map, in the orange area, a place marked with a star is Tashkent. We will see what is Tashkent Agreement in our next slide. He died in the year 1966 at Tashkent. This is the Tashkent Agreement. The Tashkent Declaration was a peace agreement between India and Pakistan, signed on 10 January 1966, that resolved the Indo-Pakistan War of 1965. So this was signed on 10th January 1966. The mediator was Soviet Union, as I said before. Soviet Union means Russia. The signatory, the one who signed this agreement, was Lal Bahadur Shastri, Prime Minister of India, and Muhammad Ayub Khan, President of Pakistan. Location was Tashkent at Uzbekistan. That's why it is known as Tashkent Agreement. Indira Gandhi, a first lady Prime Minister of India. Her tenure is from 1966 to 1977 and 1980 to 1984. Between 1977 and 1980, two Prime Ministers came for a short duration. So we will see that later on. There was a struggle between East Pakistan and West Pakistan. So during her tenure, Pakistan's oppressive policies in East Pakistan resulted in a big movement there. The movement is Mukti Bahini movement, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and his organization. The crisis in East Pakistan affected India as well, because millions of refugees came to India. Defeated Pakistan, creating Bangladesh. So if you see West Pakistan in the map and the East Pakistan, now the East Pakistan is known as Bangladesh. The 1971 war between India and Pakistan led to creation of an independent country called Bangladesh. As a part of India's So the East Pakistan was been freed from West Pakistan and it became free. Then the first successful nuclear test at Pokhran. As a part of India's policy to use atomic energy for the peaceful purpose, India successfully carried out the underground test of an atomic device at Pokhran in Rajasthan. So you are supposed to remember this place, Pokhran in Rajasthan, where the first atomic test was been conducted. This will be asked for fill-up. Merger of Sikkim with India in 1975. You can see the picture towards your right. In 1975, the people of Sikkim voted for joining Indian Republic, and Sikkim became a full-fledged state in the Indian Federation. Now we will see the verdict of Allahabad High Court. During this decade, the political situation in India grew unstable. The Allahabad High Court gave the verdict in 1974 that Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister, had messed up or misused the government machinery during her election campaign. It led to nationwide strikes and protests. So, the situation was very complicated, and the national emergency was been declared. As it led to nationwide strikes and protests, during this period the situation became more complicated due to the movement led by Jai Prakash Narayan. The situation was not under control and it worsened, and the government declared the state of national emergency on the basis of constitutional provisions relating to emergency. So during this turbulent period, the fundamental rights of Indian citizens were suspended. Due to this emergency, the Indian administration became disciplined, but the human rights were restricted. The period of national emergency lasted from 1975 to 1977, and after that the general elections were conducted. Defeat at the hands of Janata Party. As we see, on the backdrop of the emergency, many opposition parties came together and formed a party called Janata Party. So the Congress party led by Indira Gandhi was roundly defeated by the newly formed Janata Party. So Morarji Desai and Charan Singh succeeded Indira Gandhi during this period, but the government didn't last for a long time because of the differences in Janata Party. So Indira Gandhi returned to the power in the year 1980. During this decade, the Indian political system faced many new challenges. The one of which was, if you see, the evicted terrorists from the Golden Temple. This means that the Sikhs in the Punjabs demanded an independent state of Khalistan and began a movement which went on became violent and destructive. Pakistan had lent its support to this movement. So the Indian army was sent to the Golden Temple at Amritsar, a holy shrine of the Sikhs, in 1984 to evict the terrorists who had illegally taken the shelter there on the orders of Indira Gandhi. And her assassination was been done there in the year 1984 by the security guard. After her, Rajiv Gandhi took over. We will see a Mukti Bahini movement which was been led in East Pakistan, now known as Bangladesh. The Mukti Bahini, also known as the Bangladesh Forces, was the guerrilla resistance movement consisting of Bangladesh military. It is a paramilitary and civilians during the War of Liberation that transformed East Pakistan into Bangladesh in 1971. An earlier name as Mukti Fauj was also used. The leaders were M.A.G. Osmani, Commander-in-Chief, M.A. Rag, Chief of Staff, and A.K. Khandkar, Deputy Chief of Staff. Their areas of operation was East Pakistan, which is now known as Bangladesh. Their opponent or the rival was Pakistan, and it was active from March to December 1961. The allies were India. Allies means the one who supported was India. In India who supported Bangladesh in the Mukti Bahini movement. and they won the provisional government of Bangladesh, that was known as East Pakistan. So we will see the tenure of Morarji Desai and Charan Singh. The Morarji Desai was from 1977 to 1979. As I said before, all the opposition parties came together and formed the Janata Party. He became Prime Minister, but the Janata Party couldn't last long due to the internal differences. So Charan Singh came to the power, and he was there for a very short period time, that is only for 5 months, from 1979 to 1980. And again Indira Gandhi came to power in the year 1980. After the assassination of Indira Gandhi at Golden Temple, Rajiv Gandhi took over. His tenure was from 1984 to 1989. Reforms in economic, science and technology, we'll see that. He tried to make several reforms in the field of Indian economy and that of science and technology. Intervention in the issues of Tamil minority for Sri Lanka. He took the lead in solving the issues of Tamil minority in Sri Lanka. He promoted the idea of united Sri Lanka with internal autonomy to the Tamil community, but his efforts in this regard proved to be in vain. There was a movement by ULFA in the northeast. ULFA, that is ULFA, also known as United Liberation Front Organization, is a major movement in northeast India, which was basically done by the Assamese, as they wanted a free state or an independent country of Assam or the northeast, you can say. Criticized of political corruption in purchase of long range cannons from Bofors. So Rajiv Gandhi faced a lot of criticism in context of corruption that took place during the defense equipment deal, especially the purchase of long range cannons from a foreign company called Bofors. Political corruption became a crucial issue in the general elections that followed, and Congress party was defeated in 1989. He was been assassinated by LTTE terrorists in 1991. LTTE means Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam. Now, towards the end of the decade of 1980s, the unrest in Jammu and Kashmir has also begun. The terrorist activities there forced the Kashmiri Pandits to leave the valley. The problems grew serious day by day, and today it has taken the form of terrorism. After Rajiv Gandhi, the Vishwanath Pratap Singh took over. His tenure is from 1989 to 1990. He became a Prime Minister of Coalition Janata Dal for a short time. Implemented the recommendation of Mandal Commission about reservation of other backward class, that is OBC. He also waived off the loans of farmer worth 10,000 crore rupees. Then Chandrasekhar came to the power. He was also for a short period. His tenure was from 1990 to 1991. Now during his period, the foreign exchange reserves depleted. He tried to control the situation by selling and mortgaging the gold, but it didn't work, and debt on the foreign loans increased. Deposits in the foreign currency were withdrawn by non-residential India, and Indian economy faced crisis situation. P.V. Narasimha Rao, his tenure was from 1991 to 1996. The year 1991 is held to be very important in the history of the world as well as India. The Soviet Union disintegrated into several different small countries, and the Cold War came to an end. In India, the government under the leadership of Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao initiated many changes in the Indian economy. Globalization brought economic prosperity. So during this time, we were doing trade and business throughout the globe, and there were different economic reforms. But at the same time, the Ram Janmabhoomi and the Babri Masjid issues at Ayodhya came to be forefront. So there was an election which was conducted in 1996 and 1999. No political parties got a clear majority in the Lok Sabha. So this resulted in 3 governments in a short span of time. Those were led by Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, H.D. Deve Gowda and Inder Kumar Gujral were amongst them. So we will see. H.D. Deve Gowda, his tenure was from 1996 and 1997. He was also a chief minister of Karnataka. His power was for a brief period of only 10 months. Inder Kumar Gujral, his tenure was from 1997 to 1998. He is no more. He died because of a brief illness. He remained in office only for 11 months. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, his tenure was from 1999 to 2004. Finally, in the year 1999, the National Democratic Alliance came to power under the flag of Bharatiya Janata Party, and Atal Bihari Vajpayee became the Prime Minister of India. Atal Bihari Vajpayee tried to establish a dialogue with Pakistan but was not successful. A number of successful nuclear tests in 1998. So India conducted a number of nuclear tests in 1998 and declared herself as an atomic power. India became a nuclear power in 1999. So in 1999 there was another war between India and Pakistan in Kargil region over Kashmir issues. India defeated Pakistan in the war as well. I will continue the part 2 in the next video. Stay connected. If any doubts, you can just write your questions or queries in the comment section. I hope this PPT will be useful for you. For teachers, it will be useful as a teaching aid. If you feel this is useful, kindly like, share and comment. Thank you.